beautiful day in Greenville, North Carolina. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. ECU returns to its home here at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium for the first time in 4 weeks since flooding forced them away. They are 2-5 as they play host to the UConn Huskies at 3-5 on the year. I'm Mike Cousins. He is former college football head coach Dan Hawkins. We're glad to have you with us for a matchup of offensive receivers here, guys that get down the field and catch just about more balls than anybody in the country. Noel Thomas for UConn and Zay Jones for ECU.
Zay Jones playing in one of the most electric passing offenses in the country here for East Carolina. Coming into this game, both of these guys very electric. Noel Thomas can play inside and outside, over 900 yards receiving, 76 catches. Comes into this game number 4 in the country. Receptions per game. On the other side, Zay Jones, also very electric. Zay comes into this game leading the country with 95 catches. He's the go-to guy for Philip Nelson.
ECU at 2-5, 0-3 in the American Conference. They have dropped 5 straight in year number 1 for the 38-year-old head coach Scotty Montgomery, the former offensive coordinator at Duke, trying to get things back on track. And in year number 3, it's Bob Diaco, the 43-year-old native of New Jersey, formerly coordinator for defense at Notre Dame. ECU won the toss. UConn is back to receive. And Arkell Newsome breaks through the first line. He's out across the 30, now the 35 and the 40-yard line. Nearly tripped up there. He's into plus territory on the game's opening kickoff, and a big start there.
Arkell Newsome, very explosive player for the Huskies. Important for them to get off on a good start. They have really struggled scoring points at any time.
Illegal formation, number 3 of the kicking team. He started beyond 5 yards from the kicking spot. That 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down, UConn.
So an early penalty there, Hawk.
Yeah, very big for UConn here to get off on a good foot. You're on the road. Both of these teams struggling right now to find a little bit of an identity and find a groove. Playing Arena League football on the 40-yard line to start the game is a good sign for the Huskies.
UConn coming in off of a loss against Cincinnati, 31-19, where they got off to a great start. They went up 13-0 in the first 19 minutes of play. And we'll see here with a nice advantage as far as field position goes, what they can do with it. A screen pass on first down, not ideal. Going backwards there as Pratt comes up to make the stop from linebacker.
Great job by DeAndre Pratt hanging around and watching for the screen pass. They will get the ball to Arkell Newsome in a variety of ways, and well they should. He's a very explosive player.
Sheriffs with the handoff, and it's Newsome once again down to the 35-yard line. Set up a third down and about 5, maybe 6 yards here for the Huskies.
Huskies this year have kind of gone away. They pounded it last year, more under offensive coordinator Frank Verducci. They've gone to the spread. Of course, Sheriffs can run. He's very mobile. Being able to spread the field, leave a few players unblocked. Last year, they were more of a 12, 2 tight end. Get a fullback in the game, power running game.
Looking one way, and it was toward the sideline. Brian Lamel is the receiver there. The initial spot appears to be short of the 30-yard line, which is what they need for a first down. 4th down, and they stay there, looking to get right to the line quickly. Sheriffs trying to sneak it. He gets pushed back and pushed even further back on his second effort by the ECU defensive line.
That was awesome. Pirates knew that was going to happen, and they were loaded for bear. So many times you see people sneak it, and it looks like they're going against air, but the Pirates got up there, crowded the line of scrimmage, and got busy in the backfield. What a stop and a momentum shifter early on.
Not a lot of push there. Certainly not as much as they needed. You got to give credit to Bob Diaco for trying to be aggressive early on, but the gamble does not pay off. So first drive of the day for the Pirates, and the handoff goes to James Summers, the team's primary tailback, who has seen his workload continue to increase. He goes for 8 yards on first down.
Former quarterback, he's got size, 6'3", 218. He can pound the rock. Going unbalanced with a fly sweep action.
And a toss into the flat for Jones. He comes up just about even with the marker. His 96th catch of the year to lead the country, stopped by Jamar Summers.
Mike, the stat that doesn't equal up is he's leading the country with 96 catches. But his long is only 33, and he's only got 3 touchdowns on the year. So a lot of short stuff, not much vertical, Jose.
So early on, a Wildcat formation. It's Summers, the former quarterback, now turned running back. Just trying to follow a lead blocker and get himself a short yardage first down there coming out of the backfield. And indeed he does. It's first down for East Carolina. 2 and 5 for ECU. A 5-game slide, their longest since 2003. And looking for their first win in American Conference play this year. Quick drop and over to Zay Jones.
This Husky defense is sort of built to keep things in front of them. They're an odd front, 3 down. A lot of 2-gap guys, meaning they take on those offensive linemen and free the linebackers up. But they're usually going to play a soft shell over the top and not let the defense get punctured vertically.
Now to the wide side of the field, they set up the screen and just nibbling away at the yardage, going back to Jones to the short side, and now to the far side. He gets 10.
At some point, you've got to factor in getting an explosive play. It's hard to just keep going chunks of 3, 4, 5 without turning it over, having a penalty.
Sean Furlow, the running back, in motion. Nelson with plenty of time goes up over the top and too high, intended for the 6'1" Jones.
Nelson's been in and out of this lineup this year. He's taken a few shots. He's doing a good job getting the ball out early, not taking shots from that Husky defensive line.
And an offense that through the air moves it at nearly an unrivaled clip. 364 yards a game. Summers trying to turn the corner and denied that opportunity by Vontae Diggs.
Really nice job by Vontae Diggs coming inside out. Good speed at the backer position.
This is going to be a tough offense to stop today for Connecticut with what ECU can do through the air and overall. It's just when they get into the red zone inside the 20 where the issue lies. Here it is, 3rd and 11 for Nelson. His pass to Jones gets them the first down. Heavy usage for Zay Jones, and why not here on this first drive?
Huskies trying to bring a little more pressure. Rush 5. Again, playing soft outside, giving plenty of room for Zay Jones to run that comeback route on the boundary. At some point, UConn's going to have to walk up and press or roll up and give the corner a little bit of help, or they'll kill them on those short routes all day. 5
passes on this drive, all of them to Jones. That's now 6 targets on the drive. He's got 5 catches, brought down by Jamar Summers at the 12.
Great job competing for the ball right there. That's one of those things you talk about, are 50-50 balls. And it's one thing for a receiver to catch the ball when he's wide open, but he's got to go compete with somebody when the guy's in the air and go catch it, and he sure did there.
Summers takes the handoff, then gives it away to Jones. He's got a little bit of blocking room in front, and he moves back to the 12-yard line.
Jamar Summers come up and tripped him up. It looked like that play was going to be well developed at the start, and the blocking just broke down at the end. Summers got him by the shoestring.
So here's the struggling area for ECU, the worst in FBS inside the red zone, scoring just 65% of the time. Hard shot, end zone, nearly intercepted on a diving try by Obi Melanfonwu, the safety.
Mike, when you get in the red area, the safeties get down there tighter. In my opinion, you either got to have a power running game, a back in the backfield that can block, or you've got to utilize a running quarterback, because you need the 12th man against a defense that has less vertical area to defend.
Now, 3rd down and 10, they can still pick up a first down and make it 1st and goal. Just trying to work toward the sticks. Jimmy Williams trying to drag 2 defenders with him. And he's down to about the 4, which is not enough to pick up the first down. So it's 4th and 2. Nelson still on the field.
Trying to jumpstart that red zone offense. Probably a little far to run it here, although you've got 2 backs. But Summers is lined up as the lead back. You wouldn't think he'd be a blocker, probably out in the flat.
Passing, it's Summers, and he's in untouched. Touchdown, East Carolina. No struggles in the red zone this time, 6-0.
Not something East Carolina's done a lot this year down the red area. A little different look for UConn. You got all the outside receivers pushing inside routes. Nobody able to run inside out on Summers. Good scheme.
He's a tough guy to lose at 6'3", 218. And the extra point from Davis Plowman is good. East Carolina back at home for the first time in a month. The fans are happy to see football. They're happy to see an opening drive score. Nearly 5 minutes on the field. Summers turns it into 7. East Carolina at home, an opening drive. Touchdown, leads 7-0 over UConn as the Pirates forage for their first conference win of the year and look to make a climb in the standings as well here in the American Conference. USF with a nice win last night, 52-45 over Navy in an East-West matchup. And right now, East Carolina's just trying to climb out of the basement. Navy and USF, the front runners in their respective divisions. Hawk, the word of the day, is strain.
You said it, Mike. They're trying to climb out of the basement. You're in that part in the season where it is a strain. You're tired of practice, tired of the coaches. You're banged up. You got 2 teams here today trying to get some sort of identity and get themselves bowl eligible, and got to figure that out in a hurry. So at this point, it is a strain. You're the middle part of the season. It's ugly, it's hard, it's monotonous, it's Groundhog Day, but some teams are going to grind through it and other teams are going to falter.
Each team's opening drive ended on 4th down. For Connecticut, their opening drive was a quarterback sneak by Bryant Sheriffs. He was turned away, and then ECU on 4th down going for it and getting the touchdown. So Sheriffs, the redshirt junior from Georgia at quarterback, with Newsome joining him in the backfield and 3 wide receivers to open up this second drive with a 1st and 10 at the 33. Newsome stuffs it through the middle for 1. Hawk, I know one of the things you're looking for here is some creativity, play calling wise, from Connecticut.
They were very creative in the run game last year. They used both tight ends a bunch. Alec Bloom and Chris Lee, both of those guys are big targets, big talented tight ends. This year they've gone more to the spread, trying to get the ball outside because they don't feel they're as dominant, I think, in the offensive line. But they've yet to score this season in the first quarter a touchdown. And they're down 7-0 right now, and they're just not built really to play from behind.
Sheriffs has time as a nice pocket develops, but he throws too high, looking for Noel Thomas, who was well covered by Deshaun Benton.
I think Sheriffs is pretty good in the run game and the short pass game. I don't think throwing the ball vertically down the field has really been his forte. And that's probably been part of the reason they haven't scored a lot of big points. You see the offensive production down, certainly the production in the first quarter, the touchdown production, the red zone production. This is a team straining to find an identity and some production on offense.
Sheriffs under pressure, eludes the defensive line and has to just dive forward to the 36-yard line. It's another 4th down. This time the punt team will come on for Connecticut. And you continue, Hawk, to look at the numbers for what UConn has, or more importantly for Husky fans, has not done in the first quarter. It took them until October 15th against South Florida to score their first quarter points of the year, let alone what they've been able to put together the last couple weeks field goal wise. Justin Wayne sends it in the air with Quay Johnson calling for a fair catch at the 21-yard line, where the Pirates will take over up 7-0 just past the midway point here in the first quarter in North Carolina.
Alabama, they're the best team in America.
Is Michigan the #1 team in the country?
Number one thing the committee has to do, get the 4 best teams in the playoff.
College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
Getting closer toward the college football playoff, and New Year's Eve falls on a Saturday this year. It'll be a great day for watching football. And Coach Hawkins, who have you got as your top 4 and first 2 out?
Well, fun for fans. Coaches hate this. Everybody had Ohio State in last week. Michigan right now is down 7-0 to Sparty, so this could be all blown up right now. We got a big game with Washington tonight. Alabama looks like a clear runaway. Watch out for Dalvin Cook there against Clemson down in Tallahassee.
Going to the outside, Zay Jones makes the catch. That's 13 yards for Jones, who's been targeted 8 times, has 6 catches, and is over 100 receptions on the year. 101 for the senior from Austin, Texas, to lead the country.
Important for Connecticut to be good tacklers. If you're going to play off and keep it in front, you've got to make tackles.
Pitch goes to Summers, who had nice momentum, run out by Melon Fonru, but a couple of explosive plays to open things up here on
Yeah, Jimmy Williams there did a great job on the outside perimeter. You don't come clean like that if guys aren't putting it on the line. These receivers you get in this perimeter game, you got to do a good job blocking. Zay Jones trying to add to the effort as well.
And Summers right through the middle again. Mentioned as a former backup quarterback. And he's seen his workload increase, coming off a career-high 21 carries in their last game. Jimmy Williams sneaks inside the defense and comes up with 8 more yards to catch for the senior from North Carolina.
UConn rushing 3, dropping 8, playing a lot of zone coverage. Pirates very content just to throw the ball in that 5-yard area in the hole, try to break tackles and use their speed and agility to get up the field, run after catch.
Nelson wanted to throw, then took off, and slides inside the 40-yard line for a first down. He's a guy who has been banged up quite a bit this year, knocked out of a couple games.
He's learning, Mike. He's learning. I was proud of him there for going down.
But knows where to pick his spots and utilize the rule book there to his advantage to slide and make himself a defenseless player. 1st and 10, the handoff inside to Sean Furlow, a new name to the stats book this year, but Hawk not to ECU fans, a guy who's from right here in Greenville.
Well, they haven't had quite the production in the running game. A few turnovers, a few fumbles. Coach is trying to shake it up and get a little competition going in the backfield. There you go.
Throw to Jones, and that time they were waiting for him. Javon Williams sneaking behind the line of scrimmage.
That's what you have to do. If you're going to play loose and let them complete those balls and not contest them, you got to get up and make good, sure tackles.
Third and 7, the blitz comes, the throw goes to Jones, and it's incomplete. Strong coverage from John Green, the redshirt senior, who knew the ball was coming his way on 3rd and 1.
Did a really good job getting his hand back up in between Zay Jones' hands, knocking that thing away. UConn bringing pressure. Philip Nelson had to get it away early. I always like to say, Mike, pressure over coverage, and that's the reason right there. Takes less time to cover. You got chances for turnovers and negative plays.
Worth Gregory is the punter, an average of 41 yards and a chance to nail one inside the 20-yard line. Coverage team is there, and they can't get the job done. Would have been his 9th inside the 20-yard line this year. He placed it. They couldn't stop it. UConn down 7. Halloween and Monday Night Football in the NFC North at Soldier Field. Sam Bradford, the 5-1 Vikings against the Bears, with Jay Cutler back for the first time since week 2. 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Indeed, it is for Bears fans going up against the Vikings defense, one of the best in the NFL. UConn on offense, and Ron Johnson, or rather Noel Thomas.
Yeah.
They're on 1st down.
Good little wrinkle trying to get a little wildcat happening here, I guess, or wild dog if you're a Husky fan. Boy, a lot of negative plays today for UConn. Got lucky on the touchback.
And that was a play where the punt only ended up being a net of 17 yards because ECU wasn't able to pin it down inside the 5-yard line. And this just goes to the 15 for no gain.
There's a case where Huskies were taking a look at the defense. East Carolina redialed and brought corner blitz from the boundary right into the play. So you got spy versus spy, and sometimes this checking at the line of scrimmage, you just got to go.
Still looking for their first down. They do get a threat back today. Hergy Mayala, who lines up at the bottom of the screen, number 1 at wide receiver. Back after an injured ankle. Sheriffs scrambling, and him on his feet. Not going to be enough to get the job done. He's pinned to the 20-yard line. And it's once again a lack of a first down for Connecticut.
Yeah, Dayon Pratt and company doing a great job. These guys are able to get some penetration without rushing a bunch of extra defenders, and that's problematic, obviously, for UConn because you got max coverage. But when you get in those 3rd and long situations, it's tough to trust your feet, throw the ball short. You don't have enough opportunity to throw the ball down the field.
Justin Wayne from Wilmington, one of 2 Tar Heel State natives on the roster for the Huskies, sends the punt into the afternoon sky, taken at the 42. So back to work for ECU with 2 minutes left here in the first, and a 7-0 lead for the Pirates. Philip Nelson at the controls. Hawk, we mentioned it earlier in the quarter, how he's been banged up a little bit. Playing against teams from the state of Florida has not been great for him this year. Back on October 1st, knocked out of the game if they hit against UCF, and then playing in Tampa against the Bulls, Gardner Minshew had to come in after this hit right up the middle for Augie Sanchez.
Great to have guys with guts, but they need to have smarts too and know the team needs them to be healthy.
First wave was strong, the second just about equal there to stop Sean Furlow. A gain of about a ½ yard for the sophomore running back, seeing his first real action of the season that's not on special teams. Came into the game with no carries this year. Last year, 25 carries for 83 yards. And there he is to the right side to set up about a 3rd and 5 as Anthony Scott sees his carries diminish. Furlow will be the backup to Summers because Scott has had problems with fumbles, including 2 last week, losing 1 in a crucial situation. And they said his knowledge of the playbook just wasn't quite where it needed to be. Now, Brandon Bishop was sprinting onto the field there, caught everybody off guard, and we get a timeout. (7-0) East Carolina and Scotty Montgomery's squad, and all defensive eyes here on this upcoming 3rd and 5 will be on number 7, Zay Jones. 7 catches today, give him 343 for his career, the most by an active FBS player by a long shot. Nelson going to the sideline, and it's incomplete with coverage from John Green for the 2nd straight drive.
UConn playing man free there, man across the board with a free safety, so John Green's able to challenge and get up in Zay Jones' face just a little bit, and then he's able to make a better play on that comeback route. Earlier in the quarter, they were playing zone, and that route was massively effective because there's nobody to challenge it.
And a good adjustment by defensive coordinator Anthony Poindexter there for the Huskies. That is another long kick by Gregory. A little bit too long for his Gunners coming downfield to try and get to that one. Middle net 33 yards. This college football season, stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Download the app or visit watchespn.com today.
2 times the Pirates have had opportunities to pin UConn back, and they failed to do so. Now, that was an extremely long punt. The other one was short, and as you mentioned, it was only a net of 17. But I think that's one of the most underproductive units in college football today, of just not doing a great job. When you get the ball inside the 20, that's negative points for the other team, and you touch it back, huge advantage to the offense.
This offense looking for a 1st down. They fake the sweep, and Sheriffs with the keep. Brought down by Jordan Williams, the junior linebacker, who's seeing some more time today, along with Cam White. One of the changes for Kenwick Thompson, the defensive coordinator this week, to get some different matchups, personnel out on the field.
They're really trying to get their most productive players on the field and not get hung up. Are you a Mike backer? Are you a Will backer? If you're making plays, they're going to find a spot for you.
Ron Johnson on the inside, and as we get inside of 30 seconds here in this 1st quarter, it is barring a big play here, a continuation of what has been a season-long struggle through the first 8 games, and now here in game number 9 for Connecticut, of finding points in the opening quarter.
I just think, Mike, they're having a hard time finding their identity. I really believe that.
Well, they've had 15 minutes so far and 0 points to show for it. 7-0 East Carolina. 2 teams down in the standings, but ECU up right now on a touchdown by Summers after 1. Well, Hawk, as a former head coach, how would you feel if after 15 minutes you had no 1st downs?
Boy, I'll tell you, it is grinding. It's heart-wrenching. I mean, these guys are spending 18, 20 hours a day trying to figure out the solution. You got certainly 6, 7, 8 coaches in there grinding it out. But it is very frustrating, very hard. Especially here, you check the defense, you try to get yourself in the best offensive play possible, and you got a procedure call now.
On the offense, it's a 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, it's one of the fewest penalized teams in the country. However, for UConn, still blanked after the first quarter, and penalties, it's a nice number to look at, but it has not meant much for Connecticut this year. UConn and East Carolina tied for 4th fewest penalties in the country, but you look at a couple of top 25 teams, the Buckeyes, the Utes, the Tar Heels. Well, they can rack up all the penalties they want, and it doesn't stop them.
It seems relevant. It seems like you have discipline if you don't create penalties, but usually better teams are playing aggressive, and they make those penalties.
Sheriffs drops it off, and there is a first down as Newsome makes the grab, and it's their first drive that does not end with Sheriffs on the run and the punt team coming out.
Well, yeah, get it to Arkel Newsome. Makes play in space, breaks a tackle, good mobility by Sheriffs. They need some positive things to happen so these guys can get a little mojo, get a little confidence, make something happen. Too many negative plays on first down, too many Sheriff runs at the end of drives.
Just 2 down linemen. The Pirates bring 4, and the throw to the edge is dropped by Thomas.
That's the kind of stuff, Mike, that ends up happening when you get out of rhythm, you're not on your game, you lose a little bit of your attention, and then here's one of the better receivers in the country, 4th leading receiver in the country, drops an easy, quick out. Now it should be 2nd and 5. Coach Verducci now thinking about dialing up something a little more creative when you get behind the chains.
It's a run for Sheriffs. They were waiting for it. Jordan Williams, the 2nd leading tackler, takes him down. Williams was their leading tackler a year ago. We mentioned he's going to see more playing time, was listed as a backup in the first few weeks to start the year, and that comes in place of Terrell Richardson, who is the leading tackler on the year. But they liked having Williams and White working together. 3rd and 7. Extra protection for Sheriffs, who steps up and has a completion down the sideline. Just into plus territory as Newsome snuck away for 14.
Good little wrinkle getting the ball down the sideline. Sheriff's ability to move around in the pocket. Good job keeping his focus down the field.
And then a very quick snap, proactive movement there by Connecticut to get past the eyes of the replay crew and make sure that nobody had stepped out of bounds where they shouldn't have.
Notice how you get just a couple of plays, you get a little confidence, a little energy, things start picking up.
Second and 6. Lateral handoff for Ron Johnson. Maybe a yard there for the junior from Naples, Florida.
I don't think UConn is wired to get outside against this East Carolina defense. These guys can run. Better off, I think, pounding it. They've run a few pull schemes with some linemen. Ran Sheriffs off of the action up inside. A lot of speed and athleticism for the Pirates. Going with the 2-man defensive line right now.
Already 2 first down conversions on this drive, and they get another one on a bullet toss to Thomas.
Yeah, nicely done. Noel, good job coming inside on the slant route. Sheriff taking the single coverage. Safety comes off the boundary, gets inside the hash marks, and you know you got one-on-one outside when you got one of the better receivers in the country. Get him the ball.
It's been on and off on this drive at running back between Johnson and Newsome. Newsome that time quickly smothered by Dimitri McGill.
Yeah, Tommy Myers lined up at that tight end position, just unable to handle McGill, just overwhelmed him at the point of attack. And again, this UConn team is just not, I think, the kind of physical group up front that Coach Diaco wants. They got a little over an inch of snow on the ground. back in Connecticut. They need to be able to be a pounded physical football team. And I think they're trying to still work towards that.
Through the middle for Newsome, back toward the original line of scrimmage, but this will now be another time on this drive where they find themselves behind the chains.
Okay, so now you're 3rd and 10. To me, really, Mike, just try to get half of it and then see where you're at and then see what your playbook looks like. And that can determine whether you want to go for it on 4th. You don't need to say, hey, let's get 10 here. Let's try to get half of it and then maybe a catch or a run after the catch.
Sheriffs looking up top for Thomas to the end zone. Incomplete.
Tough right there. Good option going to Nola. He's one of the better guys in the country. But East Carolina, no stranger. Safety running over the top. Trevon Simmons there over the top. The only place the ball could be thrown is outside.
Puyol to try it from 46, as long as this year 43. Plenty of leg on that try, but it's no good as it sails wide right. Well, they got some first downs. UConn, no points to show for it just yet. A Hawk, your number 2 pick right now. Michigan on the road at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. 7-7 game for the 3-touchdown favorite, just as everybody predicted.
Won't be the first team I've cursed, Mike. Hopefully the last. That's why coaches, you know, it's fun for fans. Everybody get it. Coaches absolutely just hate it.
East Carolina goes back to work in between the hash marks. Keep it on the ground here on first down as they've got a 7-0 lead. Mike Cousins, Dan Hawkins, and our ESPN crew. Glad to have you with us from Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium this afternoon here in Greenville, North Carolina.
Well, at least UConn's offense was able to generate a little bit of movement, give that defense a little bit of time to rest up.
Jones across the 40 and sprints out of bounds at the 44.
He's got to give it to this wide receiving crew now. These guys are blocking machines. DeAndre Ferrier was the guy that really sprung that. All these wideouts like to put on their gloves and go do 1 on and 7 on, but these guys are getting dirty on the perimeter.
Going to make it a long day for the cornerbacks of Connecticut. Quick wrap up there by E.J. Levenberry, the linebacker, bringing down Jimmy Williams as the Pirates move across midfield.
Really nice job getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands early so he's not taking a lot of shots. Rhythm throws.
Summers tries to turn the corner and not a lot of room to work with there. It was interesting to hear Tony Peterson, the offensive coordinator for East Carolina, when we spoke by phone this week, saying, you know what, our best offense, because of sometimes our inability to hold blocks along the offensive line, might be to go 5 wide, and more often today it's been 4 wide, throw it out to the sides and let the wide receivers make a play. Seen quite a bit of that. One-handed grab there by Nelson. And down he goes. Back at the 44-yard line.
Woo. E.J. Levenberry was bringing the wood there. Get down, my man. Took a shot. A lot of times those backers do what's called hugs. So if they're assigned to a running back and the running back blocks, usually those linebackers will add. And Levenberry brought it in a hurry.
So UConn's defense gets the job done. Now it's just up to the offense to try and turn things around here. Lamel fair catches after a 42-yard kick.
It's time now for a look back at a great moment in Pirate history. Brought to you by
Big Saturday rolls on 3:30 Eastern as Northwestern takes on number 6 Ohio State at the Shoe, and at 7th ranked Nebraska and number 11 Wisconsin go head-to-head. Both games on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Quarterback matchup, Clayton Thorson has been hot. JT Barrett as well over the last 3 games. Don't mention Curtis Samuel against the Northwestern defense. For the Buckeyes, the only player with 400 rushing yards and 400 receiving yards in FBS. So tough matchup there, part of a great day in the Big Ten on ESPN. First down carry, it's Newsome as the Huskies open things up from their own 12-yard line, down 7-0. Just looking for some explosiveness here.
Well, out of the 5 drives previous to this, 3 of the first plays resulted in negative yardage, so you get half of it here. Certainly productive, and obviously the positives they took from the last drive, although they didn't score, adds a little bit of energy to the confidence of the offensive guys.
That was their best first down play of the afternoon so far. And the throw to Noel Thomas. That's them a first down for the senior from Norwalk, Connecticut.
Colby Gore over there. Every time the safety ends up getting back inside the hash, Trevon Simmons, the free safety, if he leaves Noel Thomas out here one-on-one, they've gone to him almost every time on some sort of an out or quick out isolation route.
And Gore, who was guarding him there, made the tackle. The freshman with Corey Sargent battling through some injury problems this year. And it's Newsome for 1 yard.
Deshaun Amos blitzed right into that play. Something there again, if you had the RPO outside with a quarterback, or if they get into their check system, you're able to look at that play. You see they're going more to a little bit of a muddle here instead of the normal tempo. Normally your plays get a little wordy. You want to explain things, slow things down, and execute when you decide to get into that muddle versus the no huddle.
It was Thomas on the fake sweep action. Now Sheriffs trying to lower the shoulder on the move. Quickly at the boundary.
Exactly. You're trying to lower the shoulder. I mean, he's not a fullback. Don't put your right shoulder into that thing. Just get out of bounds. Save the hit. Trying to go with a little bootleg, well covered by the Pirates. I think moving the pocket is good. Always a little tough going to the left when you're a righty, and then he puts that ball in his left hand and decides he wants to take him on with his throwing shoulder.
3rd and 8. Standing up against pressure off the edge. Thomas makes the catch. Jukes his way inside to 25, and a defender that hit the floor
Colby
a little
Gore
bit early.
Yeah, Colby Gore lost his feet. East Carolina brought pressure from the field, caught him in man coverage. Colby Gore falls down. Noel Thomas does a great job. That's what they call the 7 route. Post corner. Tough route to cover if you got time.
So a huge pickup for Thomas there as they set things up 1st and 10 at the 20. Sheriffs for Mayala. Receiver returning to the lineup, who has his 18th catch of the year. A guy who's Sheriff says, look, I love throwing to him. I'm so happy to have him back in the lineup after he hurt his ankle against Cincinnati 3 weeks ago.
Bobby Fulp, the corner, did a great job coming up. He's been very physical out there. Another guy's been kind of injected into this lineup. This perimeter passing game, you need those corners to be tacklers and be physical.
High toss, perimeter, Tyreek Beals. There's a lot of pre-snap motion there, Hawk, and then it doesn't turn into a lot that ends up going downfield.
Well, they did take the shot to Noel Thomas, which I thought was great. early because you got to get these guys off you a little bit. The perimeter game is great. Going horizontal is great, but at some point you've got to get them backed off you. So now you end up being third, and you got to think if you're productive here, you got a chance to think about whether you want to go for it on fourth.
Thomas at the bottom of your screen, their leading receiver. Sheriffs looks that way. Now forced to look back to his right and goes down.
Not sure whether he's upset at himself or upset at the receiver. Again, you're in the red area. You can't take a sack as a quarterback. You got to get rid of the ball.
That is just the second sack of the year for ECU. Dayon Pratt gets the sack, and their first since week 2, and their win against NC State. Still the fewest in the country, but a sign of progress.
Sheriffs, I think, was upset of what happened on the perimeter.
And Puyol from 34 puts it through. UConn is on the board. ECU has a sack. It's 7-3. Bobby Puyol, the kicker, gets UConn on the board. 7-3, the lead for East Carolina. Back here in Greenville. Mike Cousins, Dan Hawkins, after a very quiet first quarter, one where UConn was shut out once again. The second quarter has found Brian Sheriffs in the offense getting the gears moving a little bit better.
You play in these types of games, boy, the kicking game and field position becomes so important. Neither one of these teams have been massively explosive. Not necessarily high scoring, so really important to keep them backed up.
And Puyol, after a good field goal, sends it out of the back of the end zone. Big game tonight coming up on ABC. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific in the ACC. Undefeated number 3 Clemson taking on number 12 Florida State in front of a hostile crowd at Doak Campbell Stadium. Winner of this game has gone on to play in the national title game each of the last 3 years. Some star players as well. Deshaun Watson, Alvin Cook. Clemson in the driver's seat at 4-0 in conference play.
Look out. Clemson defense been a little vulnerable to the rush, and obviously Dalvin Cook is really starting to heat up.
Stutter stepping DeAndre Ferrier starts the drive for ECU. The Pirates are 2-5 on the year, 0-3 in the American, with the lead here as they try and put to rest a 5-game losing streak against the Huskies, who are 3-5 and have 1 win in 5 tries in conference play. That catch and dive for Zay Jones, enough for a first down in a gain of 10.
Zay Jones might be on a pace here to break the single game reception record. Get some action.
Now Jimmy Williams going to the outside. Well, you talk about what Jones has done earlier this year against South Carolina. Had 22 catches, came within 1 grab of the single game FBS mark. So still with 2.5 to go here before halftime. ECU is going to get the ball back as well, and then a whole 30 minutes beyond that. It's Ferrier once again, another first down. Certainly can't count things out for a guy in Jones, number 7 in purple, who's on over 100 catches today. East Carolina timeout. They've navigated deftly down the field. 2:21 left in the half. East Carolina on the move here on their home field, back at home for the first time in a month, and Philip Nelson has been playing the short game effectively today.
Connecticut going man free. They've given up a couple of zones here early in this drive and then not made tackles.
First down and 10, 5 wide receivers for the Pirates. Single coverage, a little bit of miscommunication for Johnson, the intended receiver there, and Nelson. Now 17 of 22. He hasn't thrown the ball very far downfield, just quick tosses, which have been effective in moving the chains, but not in getting more than one touchdown so far. Another short look underneath. Zay Jones has the catch and quickly gets rid of it as Jones pulls in his 10th catch of the day.
Starting to speed it up a little bit. Huskies have had better opportunities on defense when they play man, which they're doing here.
They rush 4. That gets the job done. Passing complete for Johnson toward the sidelines. And what are the Pirates going to do here?
Looks like they're going to stay. Be interesting now. I think the Huskies are much better rushing 4, playing man coverage. Philip Nelson doing a nice job dicing them up when they're playing zone.
They kept Summers in to block. The throw is enough for a first down, and then a little bit more. Jones, catch number 11, is a big one to keep the drive alive on 4th down.
John Green in man coverage now. Great answer by the Pirates, coming back on the shallow cross to Zay Jones. That's always tough against man when you're chasing.
16 yards up tempo outside. Johnson pushes his way to the 11-yard line.
Got to regroup. You're on defense. You got to regroup. This is what happens a little bit when you don't have a ton of confidence. You have a play go against you and your mind's a little bit rattled, instead of just refocusing and saying, hey, we're going to keep him out of the end zone.
Summers motions right. He caught the game's only touchdown. Throw to the 5-yard line. It's Jones. No one has been more reliable than him.
Just keep saying it's Jones. I keep waiting for him to get Summers into the Wildcat down here, get an extra blocker, and let him pound it in.
And there he goes right through the middle, staying a little bit too high to try and move it through all those linemen. And that slows the offense down a little bit.
Here you have Philip Nelson's not really necessarily a runner, so you don't honor so much of the zone read, and they tend to jump on Summers. Now you got 2 backs in the backfield. They bring in Brian Hardy as a H-back.
Left side of the formation and send Jones that way as well. Instead, the handoff to Summers right through the middle.
Got tripped up by the tick mark there. I think the 4-yard tick mark tripped him up. You see him banging the turf.
Clock stops with 50 seconds. Tony Peterson, the offensive coordinator, says the reason, part of the reason, and Scotty Montgomery certainly is in accordance with him here, that they have the worst ranked offense in the red zone in terms of scoring points inside the 20-yard line. And here they are, a much better indicator inside the 5. They don't have running backs, a true lead guy throughout the season they've trusted, nor do they have the tight ends that they want that necessarily fit their scheme, which is why they've struggled here. Where do they go 3rd and 2?
Hey, this is me, but I'm saying you're in a 2-down situation here. You got to score a touchdown. You know, at some point, if you can't get it in on 2 downs from the 2-yard line, you know, do we really deserve to win? James Summers playing really, really close to Philip Nelson. Oh, we're going to snap it directly to him.
Direct snap. Now a give back, a throw to the end zone. Oh, what a play! Nelson on the throw from Jones, and the trickery earns 6.
You knew something was coming because Summers was lined up very tight to Nelson. See that play a few times around the country. Sneaking the quarterback out. Coming on the reverse. Normally you don't have a guy accounting for the quarterback. Direct snacks to Summers, runs to his left, flips it back to Zay Jones. Nice job bluffing and going by Philip Nelson, in great hands.
And the Connecticut secondary was completely befuddled by that play. You got to give credit there to ECU, where the coaching staff has said between the 20-yard lines, we acknowledge we've been good inside the 20. We haven't been quite as good as we need to be. And they're pulling out something that caught UConn completely off guard.
I like the creativity. I think you have to do something to cause conflict of assignment, eye confusion, make those defensive guys pause just a little bit. Every time it's see ball, get ball, and they get comfortable with that, they get comfortable with the timing of it. Makes it a lot easier on defense.
That's a short kick down to the 27-yard line. Not a lot of time left, just 45 seconds for Connecticut. Coming up at the half, it'll be a preview of Clemson, Florida State, the big game tonight on ABC. Washington and Utah, that's a 3:30 kickoff, as the Huskies are one of 7 undefeated teams this week to go on the road. Big game at Utah, and the bare necessities as well coming up at the half. A reminder, we go back to the beginning of this game. East Carolina won the toss and deferred, so UConn opened with the ball, and if they don't score here, it goes back to East Carolina to open up the second half and perhaps carry on some of that momentum. Working toward the sideline, Alec Bloom, the tight end, targeted for the first time today.
He's got to get out. He's got to get out, Mike. I mean, I know you got 3 timeouts, but, you know, he...
And Hawk, the defense was well aware of that, pushing him back toward the field of play.
Yeah, well, they bracketed it outside, but Alec just needs to know he's not going to go to the house. Just get out of bounds, save your 3 timeouts. You know, they could be a little bit productive here, and then they have such a great kicker. Give him an opportunity to kick the field goal if you're productive on offense, but save those timeouts.
Well, end of game clock management was not a forte of Connecticut earlier this year against Navy. It cost them there. We'll see how they do here inside of 40 seconds left in the first half. Sheriffs has some time. Now gets out of the pocket, shows his mobility, and will stop the clock as the chains move on a scamper of 8.
Fine line, but given Connecticut's... had to win with a spike there, huh? Wasted 2 timeouts, move with a spike, but they just want to probably get regrouped here and make sure they know what's going on. Get a couple of plays in a row.
Pardon me not being a head coach, but I think it's a little early there, being behind the 50, Hawk, to take that timeout. As we just mentioned, the loss they had against Navy, they get down inside the 5-yard line. They use a timeout, so they've got to get to the end zone. The play call is a run. They get stuffed. The midshipmen wisely lay on the ball with 10 seconds left. UConn can't run another play, and they lose. So now, you got 30 seconds left. 1 timeout here after they've burned 2, and well, they've got to start moving the ball much faster than they have. And this is the opportunity for Sheriffs. Wisely, not only picking up the first down, but getting out of bounds at the 43. Scamper at 21.
Now, on some level, you know Sheriffs can run a little bit. Pirates probably need to spy him just a hair. That was very smart. Got an opportunity to get yourself in legitimate field goal range. If not, take a shot to the end zone.
And they probably want to get the ball a little bit closer to the 30-yard line to make it feasible for Puyol if they're not going to end up in the end zone.
Okay, good job just getting rid of it. Don't want to take a sack. Don't want to throw an interception. You don't like the timing of it. Throw the ball out of bounds. 16 seconds left. You got one timeout. Like to save that timeout for the field goal if you have an opportunity.
Sheriffs up top, and he wanted Thomas down the sideline. Too much zip.
I saw him motion into him. I don't know that he really thought that was exactly what he was going to get out of Noel on that opportunity.
Kicker Bobby Puyol 1 for 2 today, and a career long of 52. Will he get his opportunity?
Really nice day, not much wind. Go back to the quick out.
Knocked away.
Not the quick out, but the Pirates sitting all over those outbreaking routes. Good defense, good anticipation.
And now it's a 4th down and 10.
Yeah, this is tough. Try to get yourself in field goal range early. Then if things don't happen, then you got a chance for your kicker.
Well, this has been a puzzling sequence of events here on this drive for Connecticut.
Yeah. It is always easy sitting up here in the booth and everything's calm and relaxed and you don't have things going on. Now, they have gone to the up tempo this year, so, you know, managing the clock and all those things you would think would be a little bit more comfortable. But you probably could have had an opportunity to have a couple extra timeouts there. And then as you got the first down, try to move yourself into field goal range. And then if you want to take a couple shots and you know you're assured of 3, you can always fall back on your excellent kicker. If they decide to go to the end zone, you're going to have to take a drop back and then flush out one side or the other, buy yourself just a little bit of time. They're going to want to move the pocket just a hair. Give his receivers time to get down there.
4th and 10 for Connecticut, 8 seconds left in the half. Running their routes toward the end zone. The throw is toward the end zone and nearly intercepted rather than into the hands of Noel Thomas. 1 second remaining.
Yeah, as I said, his receivers weren't able to get into the end zone even at that point. You need to drop back and then wheel and dash out and then get your guys an opportunity to get in the end zone. Sheriff's taking a pop as well. He got up just a little bit slow. I don't know if that was a shoe issue or hopefully for the Huskies not an ankle issue.
Well, a first half emblematic of the 122nd ranked offense in the country. 3 points for UConn, a team that averages 20 a game. Doesn't deter the enthusiasm of head coach Bob Diaco, but East Carolina is set up not only to get the ball, but also with a 14-3 lead here at home. Philip Nelson, a great job managing things in the first half And then his wide receiver, Zay Jones, masquerading as a quarterback, throwing him the touchdown to make it 14-3 at the break. Welcome back to the American Conference on ESPN. Getting ready for the start of half number 2 here at East Carolina University, where the Pirates, looking to snap a 5-game losing streak, have a 14-3 lead over UConn. Last night, USF at home improved to 7-2 in the 52-45 win against 22nd ranked Navy, likely to knock the midshipmen out of the top 25. And what in the world is going on with Houston, down 21-3, and a loss would be their 3rd this year after last year losing just 1 time.
After everyone had him in the college football playoff.
And that is why they play the games. The leader there, the group of 5 right now, of course, USF is still a very strong team offensively behind Quentin Flowers and Marlon Mack. The leader right now, as far as the rankings goes, Boise State in the Mountain West, and then behind them, Western Michigan. Head coach P.J. Fleck out of the MAC. And the intrigue factor gets turned up with the college football playoff rankings coming up this Tuesday on ESPN. Philip Nelson, Hawk, good first half.
Pretty solid, not throwing the ball down the field, not taking sacks, not turning over, and most importantly, not taking shots to the body.
They go 5 wide and a long heave.
I like it.
Is incomplete on first down.
That's what I'm talking about, Michael. You need some explosion. You need some vertical. You got to get these guys off you a little bit. Even if you don't hit it, makes those DBs think, hey, I better play off. I like it. I like the aggressive approach. You know they got speed. Launch that thing.
And that really, coming out of the locker room, screams confidence right there, doesn't it?
Well, you're up 14-3. Again, these guys have not been massively explosive. They're one of the better yardage teams in the country passing the ball.
That was the only option for Nelson. Jones was underneath. He was getting pressure up the middle with the other 4 wide receivers heading deep downfield.
I think when UConn wants to play man coverage, that's the answer. And it's a good answer to get somebody going on shallow cross. But clearly the zone defense was not good. And UConn coming out of the tunnel here, playing man coverage. Get a chance to get hands-on, reroute 3-step. You see the check to the sideline. Zay Jones and Justin is split outside. Usually means something inside, but he stays outside.
A similar look, a lot of contact, and 3 flags come in as Jones goes down, does not make the catch, but also is holding his back or his side and is slow to get up at the 45-yard line.
John Green was right there.
Number 7 to the defense.
Yeah.
15-yard penalty automatic in the first down.
This kills me every week, Mike. DB, you got to get your eyes around. You got to get your head around. That's the easiest call for any official to make when you don't play the ball and you just run right into the receiver. A lot of guys are going to say, hey, play the hands, see the eyes, get up there. You know it's a go route. Get your eyes around. Then you can run into him almost any way you want. But when you don't play the football, that's an easy call. I like the aggressive approach.
All right, so they're going to go and look at the hit by Obi Melifonwu there and see if there's going to be targeting on this play. Now, the defensive pass interference call, the intent to impede the opponent, that one's pretty obvious. And the targeting here, this is where Jones becomes a defenseless receiver. Is there forcible contact to the head or neck area from Melifonwu?
Don't think so.
And that's what the replay official, Frank Kosman, is going to have to examine here.
Don't think so. I think hit him with his face mask, actually. That's just a course of human events right there. I don't think that's a... Now, again, we've been wrong on this before, and we could do a whole 2-hour special. I'm all for the safety, all that, but the way this rule is judged sometimes, I don't I think it's
After
always
review,
equitable.
there is no targeting on the play.
Yeah!
However, the foul for pass interference will still be enforced. 15-yard penalty, first down.
I like it, Mike. Justice reigns. Good call by the replay official. Attaboy.
And the reason, if you're sitting at home and you're wondering, how come I feel like this changes week to week, where our 1 week it's targeting, another week it's not? Well, the rule says that targeting is attacking with forcible contact that goes beyond making a legal tackle, and that's where I believe that Melanfonwu was coming in and just trying to make what would be a legal tackle and not having an upward crouch or a launch there.
Great job by James Summers coming in as a Wildcat quarterback. Play action outside. He went up inside, and they got him bottled up, but didn't tackle him. Bouncing outside for a good gain.
Summers helps set up second and 3. And the carry does get a first down there.
East Carolina gets in 10 personnel here, and they're widening out. Zay Jones up at the top of the screen, back in. He's okay. Connecticut, by and large, have been content. They're going to go with a 4-man line. They've been playing 3-man line. But this zone look right here, rushing 4 and playing zone, is what's really killed Connecticut.
Nelson with a fastball caught by Williams.
And
another first
down.
Again.
This offense is geared to beat this zone coverage. Now, hey, I'm all for playing this way on defense. If your offense is really explosive and you can make these guys see if they can drive the length and score. But where your offense is struggling too, Mike, I think you gotta blitz. You gotta get some tackles for loss, some sacks, negative plays. You gotta create them.
Summers took that one pretty high right through the middle against a 3-man front. Make them think pass and then put it on the ground.
One of the better offenses in the country, as you can see right there. They put up numbers, not necessarily always great down in the red zone, but have proven the ability to move it.
No, and the rushing offense has not been quite as impressive for ECU, which is why it is sharp to see them switch things up here, averaging 150 yards a game on the ground, with only UConn and Cincinnati trailing them in conference play. They set up the screen for Jones. It's another target, and it's quickly to the turf.
He got popped a little bit going down for that one as well. Good job running the football by UConn. I just think sometimes in these offenses too, Mike, hey, I love offense too, but sometimes you got to just say, let's just keep running it. We're successful running, just keep running it. But a lot of times you got, oh, we're a balanced offense. We got to throw it. We got to run it. We got to mix it. Summers in there being pretty productive, either as a Wildcat or just handing it to him.
And Furlow is the back who runs out of the backfield. He's only had it twice today, in and out of the hands of the freshman DeAndre Ferrier, who's gotten more time as a slot receiver in recent weeks. Jamar Summers on his back.
Yeah, Jamar did a great job. That ball would have been caught. He did a great job getting the ball out. Getting up underneath it and knocking that thing away.
So a quick opening drive, ball at the 21-yard line, which, if it was UConn, it would be Bob Diaco's red zone. He calls it inside the 22. Davis Plowman on the drive from 39, sends it in. So the drive stalls a little bit there for ECU, but they open the third with 3. East Carolina got the ball. Scotty Montgomery's team turned it into 3. 17-3. The Pirates over the Huskies. Tonight, after a full day of college football, don't miss Sports Center at night with Nicole Briscoe and John Anderson. Updates from Game 4 of a nail-biting World Series. All the college football, NBA, NHL highlights, NFL news, and everything else from the world of sports. Sports Center at night after Nebraska, Wisconsin on ESPN. Also on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Davis Plowman back inside the 5. Newsom out across the 20 for UConn. You'd expect that he might be their leading rusher. That hasn't been the case. As a matter of fact, it's been Bryant Sheriffs so far for Connecticut. 9 carries and 38 yards. Meanwhile, their leading receiver, Noel Thomas, has been kept somewhat in check.
Well, he's done a nice job getting a few balls, but not really so much. It did lead to the lone field goal that they had. They've got to get the ball to him down the field in this half. Brian Sheriffs can't be the #1 rusher. They got to get a little vertical game happening.
Sheriffs on the rollout. Connects with Tommy Myers. And he has nowhere to go. Deshaun Amos knocks him down.
Trying to get a little action up the fly sweep and come back with a bootleg. Not having it. East Carolina all over this thing. Good on the chalkboard, not in execution.
Oh, then there's nowhere to go again. Quick penetration from Dayon Pratt into the backfield, who has the team's first sack since week 2, and now a tackle for a loss to make it 3rd and long.
That guy, okay? If John Gruden would on, he'd be saying, that guy at 6'4", 237, 3 tackles for loss today. This guy can cover some ground. He plays kind of a loose 5 technique, but he can be a dropper. He can rush. Long, lean, angular. In trouble for the Dogs here on 3rd and long.
They got to get something past the chains. Sheriffs taken off for the 10th time today. And that's the 5th scramble he's had out of the pocket. He's got 10 carries. 5 of them have just been scrambles to try and gain some yards.
Yeah, and guess who made the play? That guy. #1, Dayon Pratt. I think he could be on the basketball team.
The Huskies don't need much help right now. Kevin Ollie has done a pretty good job with that squad. Great recruiting class coming in this year as well. Quay Johnson from the 29-yard line will try and make something of it. Unable to get the job done after a 46-yard punt. Pirates looking to snap a 5-game slide, up by 2 touchdowns. Two-score lead for East Carolina, 3rd quarter, 10:27 to go back here in Greenville. Homecoming weekend, our blast from the past here. It's back to the old Conference USA days, Hawk. Chris Johnson, who's 9 years deep into an NFL career, made his name first in purple and gold.
He made his name first in running. That guy was a blur, fast. That is a speedy back.
First round pick, 6 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL, and forever remembered here at East Carolina. Zay Jones on 1st down, pushed out of bounds by Jamar Summers, and that goes for 15.
East Carolina done a nice job having some answers to both man and zone and being able to pick and choose and check those plays appropriately.
On the toss, Summers, who's a big runner at 6'3", 218, gets the edge.
This is when you have a real dominant running game. You got a team down 17-3. They're struggling. Just kind of lean out on that front hand and start handing to your back and stealing the hearts and minds and soul and will of your opponent.
5 wide down the sideline, and too strong for Jones.
And what was the coverage? Man, like to know the completion percentage of man versus zone today, because almost every incomplete ball, it's against man.
3rd and 4 here coming up. We'll see if they find Jones on maybe a shorter route.
Well, they had nobody on him there for a while. I was hoping they were going to find him. They got adjusted here late.
John Green comes over, has done a nice job. Maybe he lined up in a wrong spot. Jones makes the catch, but may not have been properly aligned because the flag was thrown right in his vicinity.
They had an offside, I think, right inside, but then
Offside.
they continued with the play. Yep.
Number 93 of the defense. Penalties decline. The result of the play is a first down.
Yeah, pretty popular. A lot of teams, when they get you to jump off sides, a lot of them, they'll just take off and run a go route. And if we hit it, we hit it. If not, we still got 5 yards. But Zay Jones dropped out.
And with that grab right there, Zay Jones now 2nd all-time among FBS receptions for a career. Whoa, look out. Turning Ferrier around a little bit too much.
Had him on a little wheel route. Connecticut overloaded to the trip side, trying to throw it in the spot.
And just trying to catch Justin Hardy now. So 2 ECU teammates, the FBS all-time leaders in career receptions. Justin Hardy, the last ECU draft pick in 2015. Summers keeps the ball moving.
Had a chance to cover Justin Hardy. What a really, really nifty player. Unfortunately, win against Ryan Broyles. Took us to the woodshed a little bit. Those are 3 pretty prolific players. And really a testament to what's going on in college football, the way they sling it around the yard these days.
And as we've seen today, a great display by the Pirates. Summers gets the carry. The last 2 draft picks out of ECU, you had Justin Hardy in 2015 and then Dwayne Harris back in 2011, both wide receivers, and Jones, the senior, certainly appears to be on that same path. Ferrier goes in motion, all to set up the screen for Jones.
There you go. Good job by Javon Williams getting up in there and making that play.
This is where they get tested. They're behind the chains, trying to get inside the red zone. And you imagine, even though it's a 14-point lead here, the team goal is, hey, let's not settle for 3.
It's tough to get in a negative situation, then you have to be throwing it. They've run the ball pretty well.
And they keep extra protection in. Throw to the sideline at the 5-yard line. Jones with a nice grab, being smothered by Summers.
What a nice, smooth receiver. He just looks so effortless. We had these guys down in South Florida a couple weeks ago and had a chance to be on the field and watch him run. He just very fluid, smooth, artistic receiver.
There was a wildcat snap coming for Summers, and then a whistle.
I like it. He just did
Ruling on the field is a completed pass for a first down. Plays under review.
Just dedicate yourself to running it every time down here. Just see what happens. Get your pads down. Get on that old line. Get Summers loaded up back there. Let's go to power football.
So they'll make sure that as Jones went down, that he maintained firm control of the ball. We see he had both feet in bounds as he went out of bounds. And on a first look and a second as well, nothing seems to indicate that he lost control of that football.
Okay, so now here's what I'm going to argue for my live referee in the booth behind a monitor, just yelling at these guys, yeah, let's move, let's play. People trying to cut down on the time of games here. Let's just get a guy in stripes, live, part of the crew. They're moving good.
It's confirmed it'll be a first down for ECU.
That's about the speed you'd like it to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to. Everyone sitting at their couch at home can tell after a couple shots, oh, yeah, that's a catch. That's not. Let's move on, play football.
Couple shots. I hope the keys are locked away.
See, that's where your mind's at. I'm on the couch drinking an iced tea, and you're over there with some foreign brand of
Couple looks
something.
at the replay. There goes Nelson through the middle.
Mike, can we run the rock down here? Can we run the rock?
That wasn't the way they wanted to do it there with Nelson.
They had Summers in the Wildcat before, and then I guess talked themselves out of it. Looks like he's going to line up in it now.
What's the call? Through the middle again. So,
Rico. That means run it again, Mike. Run it again. Rico. Just get up, run it one more time. Same play. America's play, power, pulling the guard, leading with the fullback and the tailback.
Summers the back. Anderson to his left. He's got a lead blocker, and he comes up short of the goal line.
Yeah, exactly. Load it up.
Thinking field goal here would lead to mutiny.
Oh, so subtle by you. So subtle.
There's always a swashbuckling reference to be made. Summers from the 1. Shotgun snap, and he's in. Touchdown ECU.
Now they got a rare touchdown in the red zone, and they had a rare sack earlier in the game, and you were excited about the sack, and now you're not excited about the rare touchdown.
It's a rare touchdown again, though, however. You just have to change your angle of looking at it because it's the second touchdown they've scored on 4th down today.
Ah, excellent.
A little bit simpler. And that happens. Zay Jones, the wide receiver, throw the touchdown pass to Philip Nelson. Nevertheless, 4.5-minute drive is capped off by a Davis Plowman extra point with 5:52 left to go here in the 3rd. It's not a prolific running team, but with the score on their side, they like to keep the ball on the ground, and Summers takes it in. Just pounding the rock a little bit today. James Summers with a touchdown run ends the East Carolina drive. And he's had the best day rushing of anybody on either side today. As he finishes off that drive on a 4th down. Wonderful afternoon on homecoming and just about perfect weather. Not a cloud in the sky in Greenville, North Carolina. Newsome hoping to spark some magic for the Huskies. The ball comes loose, and the Pirates may have been the first on the scene. And they are. East Carolina recovers inside the 20. Flags fly well after the play is over, but this spells disaster for Connecticut.
Newsome had it in his right arm. Couldn't tell whether it was a hand or a helmet.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the kicking team. After the play, personal foul, number 33 of the receiving team. After distance to the goal, the 1st down for ECU.
The penalty is on Chris Britton for UConn.
Double trouble. You see him got it. Seen that tip go. Great job getting his hand right on the ball. Great strip. Excellent hustle. Joe Carter. I think it was Joe Carter getting his hand in there. Coach Diaco pleading with the squad to get going.
Nelson to Jones. And they go from the 9-yard line inside the 5. A chance for another quick touchdown for East Carolina.
Bringing Brian Hardy, the H-back, fullback, back in. They had success pounding a little bit. See if they go back to it.
Nelson fakes the run, goes up top. You got to feed the big man. Zay Jones deserving of the touchdown after what he's done this afternoon.
Little smash right on the outside. Hardy's the inside receiver, goes to flag. Outside receivers coming in. Got to be covered over the top by the safety. East Carolina solving their red zone woes here today.
They certainly have. Jones has now caught a pass in 43 straight games. And in that streak, 15 games counting today, with at least 10 catches. The route is on for the Pirates. Sometimes all it takes is just a little home cooking to get things straightened out, and that's what the recipe has been today for East Carolina in search of its first win in the American Conference. But more importantly, for Scotty Montgomery and his team, they have preached that execution has been right. Zay Jones has certainly helped them get right today. 18 catches, 167 yards, a touchdown catch, a touchdown toss to his quarterback, Philip Nelson. They're in the middle of their longest losing streak since 2003, when they opened up 0-6, but appear well on their way to snapping that 5-game slide today. Kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday with us on ESPN. 10 Eastern NFL Insiders Sunday edition with all the early breaking stories and injury news. And then at 11, Sunday NFL Countdown with Chris Berman and a panel of experts who will take you right up until kickoff. Both shows are streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN.
Mike, we talked about strain earlier in the game. This is what I'm talking about right now for UConn. You are struggling. Your record's not good. You're on the road. You're trying to battle for identity and relevance, trying to get yourself into a bowl game. It is a strain right now. You got to reach down deep and dig it out.
1st and 10, and the defenders are just trying to grab for a forced fumble there. Jordan Williams getting his hands inside on that tackle. No gain. 2nd and 10.
Going to be a long plane ride back to Hartford. You need to at least get something going. There it is, strain. I tell you, for those track fans out there, they know you're right in kind of that middle of that tough race, and you got to grind. And your body's screaming at you. You don't like it. And your mind's got to overcome.
Sheriff's had his pass tipped right to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10.
Jordan Williams in on that again. Doing a nice job. This defense is really athletic, really active. UConn electing to get more into a huddle, take away the tempo part of it.
They do a good job taking away the Noel Thomas part of it as well, the leading receiver today. Still just 3 catches for the Huskies. A familiar 3rd down. Sheriff tucks and runs. This time, however, it does get them a 1st down. That's one of his strengths that this ECU defense was a little bit worried about. They said when he gets out of the pocket, he doesn't just tuck it into one hand and immediately run. He'll keep it in 2 for a while, keep the threat of the pass there, and then has enough speed to move the chains.
You've got a great back in Arkell Newsome, and you don't want to have your quarterback out rushing a quality back.
Speaking of backs, Mayala on his back. Can't make the catch.
Waxing poetic. They need something to happen here. They need a big play, a big run. Newsom sparked him a little bit on the one drive where they got the field goal, and then of course Noel Thomas had the big shot down the field on the post corner route.
They've got a freshman in coverage against Thomas, who's lined up at the bottom of your screen, going up against Colby Gore. That's where the ball goes, into a tight spot for Thomas, who comes up with it, and there is a flag that comes from the backside of the play. That's a potential targeting call right there on a pickup at 25.
You know, in first blush, it did not look at it.
And not from Gore.
Going on the field is a completed catch. Personal foul. Targeting a defenseless player, number 3 of the defense. The play's under review.
Yeah, not from Gore, who is the corner in coverage, Hawk, but from Trayvon Simmons, who's number 3.
Exactly. But I still think if you watch this shot, just first blush, value of high def slow-mo. Boy, I don't know. It's bang bang right there.
The problem is, it looks like the contact may have come with the crown of the helmet.
Yeah, it's hard to tell whether he got the shoulder to the helmet or a helmet to the shoulder. Yeah, I'm all for safety of the game, no question about it. I think that's great, that's awesome, and we should keep promoting it, but I just think the way this rule sometimes is, you know, interpreted and distributed. Boy, that's tough. We don't quite have the angle. I'm not sure whether his helmet got to the pad.
Based off of the one call that we had earlier, I'm inclined to say no.
After review, there is no targeting on the play. It will only be a completed catch, first down.
2 for 2, still undefeated in the booth. I thought first blush, that's kind of what happened. It looked like he kind of got to the pad, and then it slid to the helmet. But again, just a cautionary tale for all those young football players out there to got to redefine that strike zone. I know they're trying to do it in Major League Baseball. I think football players got to do the same thing.
And the rule says when in question, it is a foul. So the on-field officials did their job. The replay official did his as well. Thomas with a second straight catch.
Good to see him go down the field to Noel Thomas. That sparked him on the field goal drive. It sparks your whole team. 6 straight 100-yard games. 2 of the better receivers we said at the top of this show. Noel Thomas and Zay Jones. Certainly will increase their standing after this game. Both have had a bunch of catches.
Just 2 down linemen as the Pirates bring 5, and it's another sack for ECU. They go from 1 on the season to start the day to 3 with a couple minutes left in the third.
Kind of surprised Brian Sheriff's coming off the left-hand side, his blind side, but you've got to sort of see the tilt of the defense. Seems to me like he just wasn't aware at all. He was surprised by that hit. Probably lucky the ball didn't come out. He didn't have 2 hands on it right there.
Third and 12. Sheriffs lets it go. Intended for Thomas.
I thought they might opt to go with something a little more underneath. Again, give yourself a chance. You have to feel like you're in 4-down territory. Try to get yourself in 4th and 5 or 4th and 6.
And a wide receiver switch out. Here is Aaron McLean, who's got 2 catches on the year, comes off the field. Mayala is back out there On fourth down for UConn, in desperate need of at least a dozen.
Noel Thomas in the slot up top.
Sheriffs goes down. Jordan Williams with the sack, and the East Carolina sack machine has undergone a Malthusian exponential progression today, from 1 entering the game to 2 and now to 4.
Anytime you wear a single-digit number on defense, you better be a creature, and they are. Those guys are all over it. I don't know if it was a Malthusian exponential effort, but
Kenwick Thompson, the defensive coordinator, would certainly say so. Another fourth down stop, and still a 31-3 ball game. Right through the middle, it's Furlow, the sophomore from here in Greenville, who didn't have a single carry on the year coming into this game. Had played all prior 7 on special teams, and a concerted effort with the fumble troubles from Anthony Scott. And now, of course, with James Summers having had a very nice day, and his services not quite as required, up by 28. See what kind of workload Furlow gets. Enough yardage for a first down there for the sophomore back out of Greenville's South Central High School.
there you go. You get to this point in the game, you got this kind of lead. This is where you'd like to let your strength coach and your O-line, your running backs finish this game off and get your pads down, start running it, move the clock, move the chains.
And figure out what they've got a little bit further down the depth chart at running back as well.
Yeah.
They go 4 wide on 1st and 10. Jones was in motion. He makes the grab and explodes across the 35-yard line, taking it out of bounds, taking a fan down with him.
Pretty smooth. You know, sometimes you get a guy like this on offense, you match him up with your best defender, but they've had done a great job motioning him across the formation, throwing quick smoke screens to him. The receivers have been very, very impressive, blocking and doing their part. Zay better take a little of his meal money, and normally you take your O-line to dinner, but I think you better take those receivers to dinner.
It's 185 yards through the air for Jones. Just going east-west there, as Foley Fatukasi, the defensive tackle, helps make the stop. Back to Jones, though, 185 yards, 121 of those coming after the catch. Hawk, you were lamenting he didn't have any long receptions coming into the day, and he still made it work.
Yeah, he hasn't for having over 90 receptions and along a 33, just amazing.
Today, 19 catches for 185 yards. That's not even the best game he's had this year. He had 22 catches earlier in the season against South Carolina. His team's up 4 scores with 15 minutes to go. Enthusiasm abound on homecoming weekend at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium because a 5-game losing streak is 15 minutes away from being in the rearview mirror for East Carolina, previously winless this year in the American Conference and since week 2 as well. But 3 sacks today compared to 1 for the entire rest of the season, plus 1 in turnovers, give plenty of reason for optimism. Nelson on the toss back for Summers, the former quarterback, heaves it to the end zone. Oh, the second trick play of the day. Jimmy Williams, a trick turns into a treat for the Pirates on Halloween weekend.
That's the part of the field where many people like to run a trick play. They've run a little bit of this pitch play. Kind of have to sense the depth the running back's getting. He's going to throw it. As you mentioned, Summers, the next quarterback, actually defended pretty well. Williams doing a great job going up and getting it.
It's hard to imagine a tougher afternoon for the Huskies right now, down by 35. This isn't an apple when you go to the front door for trick-or-treating. This is just a rock in the bag. All smiles for the purple and gold. On pace to finish the weekend at 3-5. And Jimmy Williams, I'll throw him the ball. He's moving it halfway down the field every time he makes a catch. 6 touchdown catches, an average of 45 yards a grab, as the wealth has been mightily spread around today. 3 guys have thrown a touchdown pass for ECU: Nelson, Summers, Jones. They've all caught one as well. Caleb Pratt, normal kickoff guy, has been on the sideline today. Saw him on the trainer's table. And so Davis Plowman has been handling the kickoffs for the Pirates, and this one stays in possession of Connecticut. It's a big one tonight on ABC, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's also on your ESPN app. Watch ESPN. Number 3, Clemson, battling number 12, Florida State, in front of a hostile road crowd. Now, the winner of this game has played in the national title game each of the last 3 years, but as we saw in the American, well, Houston is having some trouble. But you know what? This Hawk has been a really difficult weekend to be a ranked team on the road, and we'll see if that proves true again tonight down in Tallahassee.
Virginia getting after Louisville right now.
Sheriff's nearly intercepted in and out of the hands of Dayon Pratt, who's had the best game of any defender.
That's because he's, what did you say he was doing last drive? On your pontification of all the single-digit numbers?
I don't know. My prior words have eluded me. But he's been a capital defender for the native of Washington, D.C. UConn in the midst right now of major trouble. That is sack number 4 on the day for ECU, as the Huskies right now are just trying to get positive yardage, let alone what they've not been able to do in going on nearly an hour and a half of football game clock, and that's score a touchdown.
Yeah, you're getting feeding frenzy going on here. If you're UConn, you might want to think about getting your backups in here. You're still trying to salvage a little bit. Your starting quarterbacks out there. Arkel Newsom was returning that kickoff.
Sheriff's incomplete, threw it behind Noel Thomas, and even his team's most sure-handed receiver couldn't grab that one.
Sheriff's getting popped on that. Hey, it really is one of the great, beautiful things about football. It is, but you still got to keep playing. You've got to stay with it. There's still almost a full quarter, even though you're down 38-3 and you've been struggling. I mean, that's life. You got to learn to thrive in adversity and stay after it. It's not fun. It's ugly. It's brutal. You don't feel good. You don't like your coach. You don't like your teammates. And almost got one blocked and a flag.
Ball takes a roll to the 46, but the flag is back at the 3-yard line, the site of where Justin Wayne was crumpled down against a heavy onslaught of defenders.
These are games for East Carolina as well. Sometimes it kind of turns around your whole outlook and momentum, and You know, they got off to a 2-win season.
Running into the kicker on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
But you get off to a 2-win season, then you go on a big, long losing streak and can't put anything together. Pretty soon you start playing, you know, not to lose, and you're nervous, and you can't make plays, and you have a game like this, and you loosen up and kind of get into that zone and get into that flow and start really utilizing your natural abilities. And sometimes a game like this can really kickstart a team and a program. And Scotty Montgomery here in his first year trying to mix up the secret sauce and for the Pirates.
Wayne under less strain than on the previous attempt. And a fair catch by Quay Johnson at the 40-yard line. See if the backups indeed do come in here for ECU. Comfortably in control. Gardner Minshew, perhaps. A big Saturday rolls on, 3:30 Eastern, as Northwestern takes on number 6 Ohio State, with the Buckeyes coming off a loss. They haven't lost back-to-back in 3 years. And then at 7, it's Nebraska, 7-0 for the first time since 2001 against 11th-ranked Wisconsin in Madison. Both games on ESPN. In the standings right now, Nebraska a perfect 4-0 with Northwestern right on their tail, and Wisconsin at 2-2 in the West. Backups are in now. Gardner Minshew takes over at quarterback, replacing Philip Nelson, and his first toss goes to the perimeter and out across the 45-yard line for Jeffrey Koprich, the wide receiver.
Not as easy always when you're the traveling team to play a whole bunch of backups because you've limited on your travel roster. Obviously, you generally have a 2-deep that you can go to, but great thing about the Pirates is be a whole bunch of guys been practicing and working hard, get an opportunity to get some game action.
Yeah, Hawk, this is a team that, due to unfortunate circumstances surrounding Hurricane Matthew, actually got a little bit tighter over the past few weeks. As the carry there goes to Anthony Scott, they'll try and bring back his confidence. They had their game against Navy earlier this month postponed. It'll be played next month due to flooding as Hurricane Matthew, which struck when they played down at South Florida, came up the East Coast and flooded the nearby Tar River. And so that game was moved back. They had to relocate 26 players, and Scotty Montgomery used that time, he said, to stay on campus and re-recruit his own guys. Scott on 3rd down goes short and comes up short of the first down marker as well. So the flooding really impacted this area here in eastern North Carolina. School was closed for a week. It was a Thursday night game that would have aired on ESPN. That was postponed, as well as the airport was closed for about a week here as well because of rising floodwaters. Players, student athletes, not just football players, but other ECU student athletes had to be relocated temporarily from their housing as that storm's after effects were felt coming up the coast. There's the special teams that ECU was looking for earlier in the day as the punt is down at the 4-yard line. Deshaun Amos swats it away. Worth Gregory. Yeah, we got it done. Celebrations for all ages at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. 38-3 East Carolina en route to win number 3 of the year, which will come against the UConn Huskies, barring a big comeback with 11:29 to go, 4th quarter. The surprise of the day has been the UCF Houston game. Just the start of the 4th quarter there in Houston. UCF has led most of the game. The Cougars have come back to tie it. trying to avoid loss number 3 on the year. Sheriffs with a handoff to Ron Johnson, who turns right and gains 6 on first down for the Huskies.
Coach Diaco was having a discussion with the officials in the break. I think he was wanting an illegal batting of the ball there, and they kept the ball out of the end zone.
Sheriffs is intercepted along the far sideline. Bobby Fulp with the interception for the Pirates, and a tough day has a degree of difficulty rise even higher for Connecticut.
Then he fumbled, and I think Cam White scooped it up. When it rains, it pours. This is the tough thing about leaving your starters in here. I mean, you're already beat down. Now you throw a pick. Ball's going to get fumbled here. He doesn't quite take care of the football. Comes out. I think Cam White was the guy right there.
Whoa, bounce right into his arms.
Yep. Sometimes there's good fortune, and then there's luck.
All right, Hawk. Let's see, as a head coach, Anthony Scott fumbled twice. Number 3 in the game at running back. Once in the red zone last week. You go back to him here.
Sure. Try to rebuild his confidence. Let's run it every down.
And they do. There is a flag on the play as he goes in for the touchdown, but the flag is right at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Yeah, when there was fly sweep motion, added an extra player to the backfield. Got some backups in here now. Sometimes you got to remember who's on and who's off, and you start getting in unbalanced formations and people don't communicate. Make sure guys are on the line of scrimmage.
Minshew hands it off to Scott.
You're not going to fumble, though. You see both hands on that ball?
He keeps it there. 5 fumbles this year, leads the team. He's lost 3 of them. One of them came last week inside the 20-yard line, that loss against Cincinnati. But they said during practice this week, he was more determined than anybody because he knows here's a guy who's a junior in the back end of his college career and doesn't want to be benched because of something he can control.
Well, it's something you can practice and talk about and work on. You certainly can, and you continue to do that. But also at some point, if they don't get the idea and they keep turning it over, you got to get them a spot by you on the sideline and make sure they realize, I mean, it's the #1 determinant of winning and losing is turnovers. You cannot, and fumbles are never, ever, ever, ever excusable. Once in a while, maybe a pick, but not a fumble.
Third and goal from the 3. Scott from the flat, and he gets hit hard and knocked out of bounds by the safety Melon Fonwu. 4th and goal.
Melon Fonwu was the leading tackler on this team, and he's had a tough day. They went to work on him on a couple of routes, but he's bringing the pads here, keeping him out of the end zone. In fact, Scott was going to turn up and score, but Obi's continuing to play.
Yeah, he's got 10 tackles. Team leader now with 74 on the year. So the backups have come in at other positions, but not at kicker, where Davis Plowman, who a few weeks back won a kicking battle, stays on the field. Now there's a flag. Hawk, this was just a few weeks back prior to the game against South Florida that it came down to a week-long kicking competition between Plowman, the senior, and Jake Verity, the freshman. Plowman ended up winning that and has held on to the job ever since.
It's one thing to kick it. It's the whole pressure issue is another. And so I think competing all the time is good.
Very low pressure situation there. 26-yard field goal is good for Davis Plowman. 41-3 ECU. A raucous homecoming crowd has started to re-inhabit the parking lot surrounded Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium with their team up 41-3. On a wonderful afternoon here in the eastern part of the Tar Heel State. Along with Dan Hawkins, Mike Cousins. Glad you could join us with lots more great football coming your way across the ESPN networks this afternoon and well into the evening. That last drive ending the 26-yard field goal for Davis Plowman, who's also been assuming kickoff duties today. Elsewhere in the American, tied at 24. UCF and Houston keeping intrigue high for the Cougars and seeing exactly what may end up being their record at the end of today. Tyreek Beals, the wide receiver. All right, let's play Abbott and Costello. Who's throwing the touchdown pass, Hawk?
Yeah, right here. Nelson to Summers. Now we got Summers to Jones to Nelson. Then we're going to go Nelson to Jones. And hold on, we're going to go Summers to Williams. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
It's been hard to keep up with this afternoon, but it has certainly been quite entertaining to see the offensive explosion by the Pirates as they ready to snap a 5-game losing streak and get back into the win column for the first time since week 2.
I think you got to have that stuff in your package, Mike. I really do. I think it creates conflict for the defense. I think it also presents some explosion opportunities. There you go. Thrown by Nelson, Jones, Nelson, Summers. Receiving Summers, Nelson, Jones, Williams. It's fun for your team. It creates explosion plays. It's creative. It keeps you energized.
And Sheriffs to Newsome, not quite the same effect. With Deshaun Amos making the tackle. And that's what, somebody has to lose this game. But both of these teams really needed a spark in a positive direction because their seasons are not going the way they had hoped right now. Now, bowl eligibility still in sight. It'll be hard to do, but really to get something great out of today's game, and that's what East Carolina has done. Newsome gets something nice here to the 44-yard line. A pickup of 23.
Be a long ride home back to Connecticut and take the leaders on this football team, the Husky team, to get them rallied up. The coaches stay positive and stay after it. The juice that the Pirates will receive after this will hopefully push them into November, where it becomes
an interception. Colby Gore with the interception for ECU as Sheriffs tried to throw it deep, and for the second straight drive, his pass attempt ends up in the hands of an ECU cornerback.
Got hit by friendly fire as man Pat Green got him down at the end. Haven't taken many shots today. That was certainly double covered. Needs to be thrown out of bounds. You see number 13, Pat Green. He's like, I just can't believe I tackled my own guy.
Gore had his first career interceptions 2 games ago against UCF, and a defense that had just 3 come into the game. Has done a nice job getting sacks and getting interceptions today. Devin Anderson now getting into the carry game as well. It's 24-24 UCF and Houston in the 4th quarter. The Cougars at home trying to avoid going to 6-3. Just put it on the ground. It's usually a pretty good formula. 31-24, 7.5 to play for Greg Ward Jr.
Yeah, we talked about turnovers in this game. In the Central Florida Houston game, Houston turned it over 3 times in the first half. In the second half, Central Florida's turned it over 4 times.
Anderson again, who will refuse to go down. "23 yards. And you know what the strange part about your rushing game last week was for Greg Ward in that loss that Houston had against SMU, a surprising score to just about everybody across the country. 3 rushing yards last week at SMU in that loss. A huge credit to the defense of Van Malone.
Pirates going to come out of this game, and then they've got Tulsa, SMU, Navy, and Temple. And they are going to have to get on their gloves and finish hard.
Positive turnover margin today for the Pirates. They came in -12, last in the ACC. Ironically, the Pirates had been no good at piracy and have shown they're able to turn that around today. They're 3 interceptions to start the day. We're tied for second fewest in FBS. And fake to Anderson. That pass incomplete. The Hawkets a record of 3-5 with a win today for ECU. And as far as the remaining schedule goes, well, SMU has shown itself to be no pushover. Tulsa can put up points with the best. And Navy and Temple, especially on the road, that is not one to envy.
No, they're going to have to grind. It's a heavyweight fight. When you get into November, it's all about who's the toughest.
Taking a shot down the sideline, one-on-one coverage. And the pass from Minshew, incomplete, intended for Brandon Bishop, who's got all of 2 catches on the year.
Little pulling and tugging down there. I thought he was going to come up with it. Great effort. But yeah, it is tough. You get in November, it's really who the toughest team is. Because everybody's banged up. Everybody has something hurting, sore. And you've got to put on your hard hat, get out your sledgehammer, and go to work in November.
Gregory's punt. A sideways bounce. Easy special teams coverage there. Trevian Hicks, the linebacker, falls on top of it to pin the Huskies back deep once again. Worth Gregory deserves maybe a little bit more credit than he'll get after we look at the final score, and the box score shows 41-3, or maybe something a little bit different than that, but he's done a very good job punting today.
Every time you get the ball inside the 20. Now, they missed a couple opportunities in the first half, but it's basically about a 0-point value on the 20-yard line, and then every 10 or 12 yards, you know, it's a point. So he's got him about 1.5 points in here. But that's critical. It's tough to drive the length of the field and score.
Standings in the East with USF right now at 4-1 after their win last night against Navy, sitting up top, and they are a difficult team to beat with the duo of Quentin Flowers and Marlon Mack, and we've got a flag down in the end zone. It's Garrett Anderson.
Personal foul.
Is it?
The passer. Number 10 of the defense. 15-yard penalty automatic. First down.
Giannis Bowden, the linebacker, calling for the penalty.
Was a guy that was getting more time earlier in the year. They switched that crew up a little bit. Finally getting Anderson in the game to get a few pops.
So Anderson, the senior from Walnut Creek, California, just 3 for 7 through the air this year, playing in 5 games. Taking it to the right side and takes a good pop as he goes down, but does pick up the first down.
UConn will have some soul searching. Be a very quiet plane ride back. A lot of head scratching going on. Going to take all the character these guys got. Get ready to go to finish out their season.
Former junior college quarterback has his drop back impeded by another flag.
Before the snap, false start, number 72 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, first down.
Kind of a credit to Garrett. He's a senior and playing behind Sheriffs, who's a junior. And many times, if you're going to be a senior and you're playing behind somebody that's younger than you, you opt for greener pastures.
He spent 2013 and 2014 at Laney Junior College in California, trying to just get something done on the move here on 1st and 15. Last year, only threw 3 passes. And this year, coming into this game, had only thrown 7. He did play briefly last game in the 3rd quarter, replacing Sheriffs for 1 drive when Sheriffs was knocked out of the game. An opportunity here to go down the sideline, and good control for Thomas, who's targeted for the 16th time today and has his 7th catch. There's been a big disparity. We featured Noel Thomas and Zay Jones at the very beginning of the broadcast. Zay Jones still, even after that pass, has been thrown to 10 more times than Noel Thomas has 19 catches compared to 7 for Thomas. And now with that grab, no, incomplete. So 17 targets and 7 catches.
He's done a nice job. He has put a couple easy ones on the carpet, but it's been a tough day for him.
A couple throws behind him that hurt the numbers as well. His 6th straight 100-yard game will be a footnote loss to history in a game that right now shows 41-3. 19 catches, though, on the other side for Zay Thomas. Will be short of what he did earlier this year, 22 against South Carolina, which was 1 short of the FBS single game record for receptions, 23, which is held by 2 different players. Rather, I should say Zay Jones, not Zay Thomas. Beg your pardon there, misspoke.
We know what you meant. You've been waxing poetic so great this whole game. We knew exactly where you were.
So Jones had thrown in his direction 26 times today, 185 yards. Got to throw 1 as well.
What's always tough, Mike, is you're in a game like this and somebody gives you a note. Your SID gives you a note and says Mike Cousins needs 1 more catch to break the all-time record.
If he had 23 catches, you got to send him back out there.
Well,
right?
It's gut-wrenching. You're like, what do we do now? I mean, now if they get it to you early enough and you kind of know, you hate to leave a guy a couple short when you could have got it, but it also sometimes, if you've already decided he's out of the game and hasn't been playing, it's always a tough feeling. You want a guy to have a record he deserves, but you don't want to be stupid and have a guy have a chance to get hurt or do something that affects the game in a negative way.
2:29 left here to put a bow on this one after the turnover on downs. Jones' day has long been done. Minshew stays at quarterback. Anderson stays at running back, and it's Anderson. So 4 different running backs playing a part in the show today for ECU. James Summers, the feature guy. Sean Furlow getting his first carries of his sophomore season for the Greenville native. Anthony Scott righting his ship after a couple of fumbles last week, and now Anderson in mop-up duty. Hawk, I want you to
don't think I didn't catch that righting the ship comment either. So this pirate thing's going long and deep with you today.
There's still, even inside of 2 minutes, some gold to be found here as we wind our way towards zeros on the clock. I want you to go into Bob Diaco's shoes here for a moment.
And set myself on fire? Like, come on.
No interest in a conflagration. That happened yesterday when I was leaving O'Hare Airport. Fortunately, everybody was okay on the American Airlines flight that was supposed to go to Miami. But you have to face the media after the game. And your team is going to be 3-6, 1-5 in conference play, and having lost by 38 points. What do you say?
Well, having been through it obviously a little bit, I'd be better at it now. You just kind of, it is what it is, and you have to just be up front. I guarantee you there have been times in my career where I just like had no gas in the tank. And I just said, okay, guys, I'm done. I mean, you answer 2 questions, I'm done. You got no gas. You're emotionally wiped. And I know it kind of happened a little bit, not that I would ever want to compare myself to Cam Newton, but you remember when they talked to Cam Newton and everybody's so disappointed. When you are so drained, I just think some people have never been to that level. It's hard.
And you're talking about a couple weeks ago where he walked out of his press conference after a few questions because he just said, hey, I've had enough.
Yeah, you're done. You're just drained out. You just got no more gas in the tank. And I'm not saying that's right, okay? But hey, at this point, you're Diaco, you just own up to it. Just say, we're not very good. We're not coaching very good. We're not preparing very good. We've got to coach better, recruit better, inspire better. And we got to play better. So we got to go back to square one and try to figure out how to get a first down, how to get more than 3 yards, how to get some turnovers. Got a great resume there. But that's just the facts. You got to look in the mirror and just be real about it and be honest about it. You've got to be positive with your kids. There's still a lot of human emotions involved. Doesn't do any good to get negative with them or negative in a sense with the press and or throw anybody. The only person that gets thrown under the bus is you, and that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Year 3 for Bob Diaco, whose record as a head coach will drop to 11-23. It was a 2-10 season in 2014, 6-7 last year with a bowl appearance. And a loss here today sends the Huskies to 3-6. The Pirates improved to 3-5, and it's a happy homecoming weekend. The first football game back in Greenville in 4 weeks. Here's a good one on the return home for Scotty Montgomery and crew. Everybody got involved on the offense, and the Pirates snap a 5-game slide, which had been their longest in 13 years. Final score from Greenville, North Carolina is the Pirates 41 and the Huskies from Storrs, Connecticut 3. It was a pleasure to have you with us here this afternoon. For our entire ESPN crew, my partner Dan Hawkins, my cousin, saying so long from North Carolina.